Imagine this. A woman with hair made of living snakes. Her eyes so powerful that one single glance could turn you into stone. For thousands of years she has haunted myths, art, and even our modern imagination. Her name? Medusa. But here's the real question. Was Medusa truly a monster, a nightmare meant to terrify? Or was she a victim of the gods, misunderstood, mistreated, and wrongly remembered as a villain? Today, we're going to uncover the full story, from her ancient roots to her tragic transformation to her modern reimagining. This is Medusa, symbol of fear or misunderstood myth.
In the earliest Greek myths, Medusa is not alone. She is one of three sisters known as the Gorgons. Their names, Steno, Euryale, and Medusa. Now here's something curious. Steno and Euryale were immortal. But Medusa, she was the only mortal sister, the only one who could be killed. To the ancient Greeks, monsters often stood for chaos, darkness, and the dangers that lurked beyond civilization. The Gorgons, with their sharp fangs, bronze claws, and snake-filled hair, were the very picture of terror. But from the very beginning, Medusa stood apart. She was not just a faceless monster. She had a story. She had a fate. And unlike her sisters, she could die, making her the perfect target for heroes like Perseus. Here's where things get interesting. The Greeks didn't just tell stories about Medusa. They used her image everywhere, on shields, on armor, on temples, even on coins. Why? Because her terrifying face was believed to be apotropaic, a fancy word meaning it wards off evil. In other words, Medusa's head was like a supernatural scarecrow, protecting warriors and cities from harm. Imagine holding a shield painted with her snarling eyes and snake-filled hair. Your enemies wouldn't just see a piece of bronze, they would see a face of pure fear. That was the power of Medusa. Not just to frighten, but to protect. Centuries later, the Roman poet Ovid added a new twist to her story, and this version would change how people saw Medusa forever. According to Ovid, Medusa wasn't always monstrous. She was once a beautiful young woman. Some even said her hair was her crowning glory. But one day, Poseidon, the god of the sea, saw her. Inside Athena's temple, he forced himself upon her. And when Athena discovered what had happened, she did not punish Poseidon, the powerful god. Instead, she punished Medusa. Athena transformed her beautiful hair into venomous snakes. Her once lovely face became so terrifying that no one could look at her without turning to stone. From that day forward, Medusa was trapped inside a curse she never deserved. She became the hunted monster, waiting for the hero Perseus to end her story. And so, what began as a tale of fear turned into a tragedy. A woman punished for something she could not control. A victim rewritten as a villain. Of course, the story of Medusa wouldn't be complete without Perseus. He is the hero chosen to slay her. Guided by the gods, Perseus receives magical gifts, a mirrored shield, winged sandals, and a sword. Using the shield as a reflection, he avoids looking directly at Medusa, and in one swift motion, he strikes. Her head is severed. But even in death, Medusa's power lives on. Her gaze still turns men to stone. Perseus carries her head as a weapon, using it to defeat enemies and monsters. Eventually, he offers it to Athena, who places it upon her shield, the mighty Aegis. And so, Medusa's face continues to terrify and protect, long after her story should have ended.
But what does Medusa really mean? Why has her image survived thousands of years? One reason is fear. She embodies the terror of the unknown, the things humans can't control. Another is otherness. She was different, cursed, set apart from both mortals and gods. And throughout history, societies often turn outsiders into monsters. There's also power. Even in death, her severed head was more powerful than most living beings. Her story reminds us that sometimes even victims carry strength greater than their oppressors. And then there is the gaze, the idea that simply looking at her could kill you. Think about that. For centuries, people have debated what it means. Does it symbolize the danger of beauty, the fear of women's power, or the way society freezes those it judges unfairly?
In our time, Medusa has been reimagined again. No longer just a monster, she has become a symbol of resistance and survival. Artists, writers, and activists see her differently. Not as a villain, but as a woman wronged, punished by the gods, silenced by history, and demonized by myth. In feminist art, Medusa represents anger and strength. Her face appears in sculptures, paintings, and even protests. She has become an icon for survivors of violence, for those who refuse to be silenced. Fashion has also claimed her. You may have seen the luxury brand Versace. Its logo is Medusa's head, not as a monster, but as a symbol of allure, mystery, and unstoppable power. And in pop culture, she appears in films, video games, and comics. Always changing, always reinvented, always reminding us that her story isn't finished. So in the end, who is Medusa? Is she a monster to fear? Or a victim to mourn? The truth is, she is both. A protector, a warning, a victim, and the symbol of power that even death could not erase. Her myth forces us to ask, who gets to decide what makes someone a monster? Who writes the story? The victim or the powerful? And how many Medusas have been silenced in history, remembered not for who they were, but for the curse placed upon them? If this story made you think differently about Medusa, make sure to subscribe for more myths and legends, and tell me in the comments, do you see Medusa as a terrifying monster or a misunderstood myth? Because sometimes, the scariest stories are the ones we thought we already knew.
This has been Timelens. If history leaves you with more questions than answers, subscribe, because the past is never really past.